What if you knew judgment was coming? And there was only one way to escape it. One night in Egypt. God warned his people, and everything depended on whether they would trust him.
The warning was clear. The question was, would the people trust God?
This is what the Lord says. At midnight, death will pass through Egypt, but you can still let God's people go.
I will not listen. The Hebrews will remain in Egypt.
Pharaoh had heard God's warning, but he refused to listen. Then Moses gathered the people. Death was coming to Egypt, but God in his mercy had provided a way of escape. God had provided a way to be saved. Every family was to choose a lamb, prepare the meal with unleavened bread, no time to wait. Put the blood of the lamb on the doorpost. Prepare for an immediate journey. The people did not understand everything, but they trusted God's instructions. The lamb would become a sign of God's mercy. The families prepared the meal, just as Moses had instructed. Each family placed the blood on the doorpost and lintel. Their belongings were packed. Their sandals were on. They were willing to do whatever God asked. Some children asked, "Why are we doing all of this?" Because God told us to. And that is enough. The instructions had been given. Now they had to decide whether they would trust God. As darkness settled over Goshen, the people waited. Children asked, "Will we be safe?" Parents said, "God said we would." The doorway had been marked. God's instructions had been followed. Their sandals were on. Their staffs were ready. All they could do now was trust. Moses knew the warning was real, but he also knew God would keep his promise. Across Egypt, most people had no idea what was about to happen. The instructions had been given. The choice had been made. Now they waited. When dawn broke, Egypt had changed. Death had come overnight. Sorrow hangs heavy in the palace. Pharaoh finally understood that God's warning had been true.
Bring Moses and Aaron.
For the first time, Pharaoh had nothing left to say.
Go. Take your people and leave Egypt.
Moses knew that the time had come to leave Egypt. The people had trusted God. Now they were ready to follow him. As the sun rose over Egypt, God's people began their journey to freedom. Men, women, and children followed God's leading. They were finally leaving the land of slavery behind. For generations, their people had lived in bondage. Now God was leading them out. Egypt was behind them. A new future lay ahead. And God did not leave them alone. He went before them, guiding the way. Freedom had begun, but the journey was only getting started. For the first time in generations, God's people were free. And wherever God led, his people followed. But Pharaoh's story was not over. And ahead of them stood an obstacle that seemed impossible.
For generations, the Israelites had lived in bondage to Egypt. God had sent warning after warning, But Pharaoh refused to listen. Then judgment came upon Egypt. But God, in His mercy, provided His people with a way of salvation. The people weren't saved because they were stronger than Egypt. They were saved because they trusted God's way. But their journey was just beginning, and next time, they'll face an obstacle that only God can overcome.